Hello all, this is Alex from Potato Squared, and we're going to show you about spear units today on Rome 2 Total War. I've got my compatriot over here, and he's going to be playing as the enemy for us to exemplify the units. I'm playing as Macedon here, which is one of the Greek city-states, one of the initial ones as well, and one of my personal favorites. I'm going to be exemplifying to you spear infantry, just straight up spear infantry, as well as hoplites, which is its own class, and pikemen, which are a very special type of spear unit. And yeah, that about covers it. We want to start. I have a little loading screen action. Yeah, so my forces will be deployed in the yellow, and then the red will be where my colleagues' forces will be deployed. If just quick tutorial fact. Alright, my army is loaded here. As you can see, I have deployed my general unit, which is a very good spear unit, specifically a hoplite, called Shield Bearer. Got him right here. In fact, let's just zoom in on him. Very good spear unit. But they're also highly expensive unless you get them as a general unit. You can also get a pikeman unit as a general, but I wanted to show just traditional pikemen instead of showing you really powerful ones, which are the guys I have selected right here. These guys are known as pikemen. Now, you don't actually see the pikes yet, but that's because you have to activate the ability Pike Phalanx right here. And then pikes just pop up like I don't know where they keep them. One of the mysteries of the game, I guess, but right now they're not doing it. I'm trying to figure out why. I realized. I just had a stupid moment where I haven't started the battle yet. But also we got archers right here. Now I'm not going to be showing you much about the archers, but there's something I wanted to talk about with spearmen relating to archers later. We'll be doing a different video later about archers, so I'm just going to leave them in the back here for now. And yeah, I'm going to do some quick organizing, just putting my forces together, and then we'll get started. What you can see here with me mass selecting them and then putting them in a selection group is that it allows me to just click like the button for one. Also, I could just hit the number 1, 2, 3, rotate through it. You can have up to 10 selection groups. It makes it really easy to macro manage. Micro and macro manage. I highly suggest doing this so if you have trouble managing your army.
Battle group awaiting orders. Grouped and awaiting
So yeah, I've got my general, some spearmen, and then the 3 types of spearmen I want to show you, and then some archers for later. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so as I mentioned earlier, my colleague will be playing the enemy army so that we can exemplify the spearmen against different types of units. First, I'm going to go ahead and start off with just traditional spearmen. Not hoplites, not pikemen, because they're their own category. Just traditional spearmen. These are thorough spears. They're not very good spearmen. Normal spearmen that are not specialized are normally not as good as more specialized units. These are simply just medium spear infantry, which is not very good in comparison to the hoplites, which are very heavy spear infantry, and then my shield bearer general, which is also very heavy spear infantry. But I just want to show you some stuff they can do. As you can see in the little toolbar of tools that you can use, they do, unlike other types of spearmen, these ones can actually fire ranged weapons, which is unique to lighter versions of spearmen. Now, as you can see, they're taking fire here. Hopefully that's going to stop here in a second. It's just my colleague here getting arranged. So yeah, when these guys take fire, they of course have shields they put over their head. But I wanted to show, but they're not very useful tactically. I mean, you can use these different formations that they give you for virtually every unit. But otherwise, I mean, the one formation they can do is called square, and basically they all form in, well, squares. It's effective in one way because they're facing all sides, which means they cannot be attacked from behind. All sides are their front side, but they're also immobile when they're in this formation. So it's a good it's useful as far as like stopping a frontal assault, but as far as a lasting effect goes, they will eventually be overrun. Which is why I often don't use normal spearmen, because as a rule, in general, they're not very good. But that's a totally different story for hoplites. Hoplites are one of my favorite units. Narrowly losing to pikemen. So this video will be near and dear to my heart. Alright, pikemen are the upper class of spearmen, if I dare say. They're solely belonging to the Greek city-states. You can not find hoplites anywhere besides Greek city-state or a successor state from Alexander's legacy, such as like Seleucid. Yeah, so what we got here is they're different. They can't form the square, but they have something much better than that. They have something called hoplite wall, which is extremely useful. It basically they bunch up and they form this almost impenetrable wall of shields, which can hold for a very long time against a continuous enemy assault. And yeah, they're also mobile in this stance. Although they can only spread out so far, which means they're very clumped together, they can actually move in this formation without breaking formation, which makes it very useful as far as an adjustable wall of shields. Yeah, so that's hoplites basically. Although as far as all these spear units go, we're going to be giving you a more detailed showing of them by pairing them against different enemy archetypes. And then the last type of spear infantry I wanted to show is pikemen. Now, as you can see, they've actually formed into pikemen now. From my slight error earlier, they actually have their pikes out. Wherever they get them from, I don't know. It's just one of those mysteries.
Yes, Commander.
Pike phalanx is very, very effective in my experiences. It is really good when an enemy hits you head on because it keeps them like at distance from you, even in like spearmen and stuff. So as a most part, if an enemy tries to engage you from the front and you're in a pike phalanx, as long as they're like some type of melee unit, you're probably going to win. Unless they're just infinitely better than your unit, in which case, I mean, it's just experience beats all in the end. But yeah, so they hold very well. As you can see in the list of good and bad, it has a bonus versus cavalry. It's extra bracing, so if you get hit by like a cavalry charge, less is going to happen than if like, I don't know, your archers got hit by cavalry. But the only downside of the pike phalanx is limited speed, as well as what's not stated is that if they get like attacked from the side or from the back, the pikes don't protect them. The formation is only useful from the front. So you want to make it very critical if you're using pikemen that they don't get flanked. It's very important. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little showing of how each unit type works. I figure we might as well start with these thorough spears here. I already have them in a formation. And so let's just start off with some units that are on the weaker side so that we can exemplify. Let's go ahead and unleash those Germanic scout riders here. Alright, so as you can see here, my colleague is sending them against the thorough spears. I want the thorough spears, because they're a lighter form of spearmen, they also have archer capabilities, but for now I'm going to turn that off just to show you a little bit of something else. although they are still attacking. Oh, I know.
As you command.
I don't believe you can actually change the fire at will state, which will have any unit that has ammunition just automatically start firing. You can't turn that on and off if they're in square formation because it gives you zero control of the unit. So yeah, as you can see, although they're taking sustained fire in the square formation, they are far more protected, especially against an assault from, like, say, cavalry units, which I now want to demonstrate. We have ourselves some melee cavalry here, which are well, melee cavalry, quite obviously. But they're light melee cavalry, which means they probably won't stand a chance against the throw spears, but I want to exemplify how they can be attacked from any side and will not get any flanking negative bonuses. So my colleague here is going to send them off. We're going to watch what happens. So I'm going to just take one unit in particular and single it out. So let's say he's facing this way,
Double time.
away from the melee cavalry. He's just, I don't know, zoning off, watching the battle or something. Then all of a sudden he's cavalry behind him and he's about to be flanked.
Form square
Well, then he can
formation.
form this square formation and automatically he can no longer be flanked, because attacked from any side he's prepared. This is really useful if you want to make like a wall of a line of defense against like an oncoming enemy. Like if you find yourself a choke point, it's quite useful. Now he's actually forming them into a charge thing, which is quite effective at ramming. And so when he rammed that unit like he did with the forward charge into the wedge, it broke the formation, which is unfortunate because without that formation they get slaughtered. But if he were to not form into that into the way he did, it would have held much better. So now, for the sake of just showing this, like let's say,
Advance at speed.
let's just pull this guy out here
Yes,
because
Commander.
this formation is kind of screwed up at this point.
Fire spears.
I'll just retreat him over here.
Into
Now I'll form
square.
this guy. Now let's go ahead and exemplify what happens if for some reason like we're playing against an AI and they don't form into a wedge or something. I'm going to zoom in for effect. Here, let's just trigger cinematic mode.
Let's rest.
You can see that instead of breaking, they actually hold their they hold the square in an effective position, and that they really haven't lost any men at all, or if they have, well, they're starting to lose men now, but very little. By comparison, the Riders of the Hunt, they haven't quite started losing men yet, but they're starting to drop. This one specifically, it's already losing decisively. We're going from losing and losing decisively. No, combat even on one, losing on the other, which is still very good. But as I said, these are simply medium spearmen. They're not as good, and they're not nearly as close to my heart as, for instance, the hoplites are. So yeah, I'm just going to pull out these thorough spears now. That's basically all I wanted to show you. They're not very useful unless you have like a choke point or something, and they're pretty easily defeated, which is unfortunate. So yeah, I'm just getting all these guys out of spear formation, and I'm going to sacrifice them. Oh, actually I won't. I'll just push them off to the side.
At the double.
Here we go.
Quick march.
Just get them off to the side there. Alright, the next thing I want to show is Hoplite Wall. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, we just used cavalry for the thorough spears here, but against other spearmen, like heavy spear infantry right here, the Spear Brothers, they would have not held. It is a good formation when you're trying to prevent getting outflanked, but as far as holding against better spear units, it's not good. So you want to be careful when and where you use these guys, and quite often I use them as cannon fodder for my main force. But that is not true with the hoplites. Hoplites are very good units. Often when you have a really good unit, instead of how spears are normally shown with the rectangular form ending with a point, you'll actually see hoplites just be a straight up rectangle, which marks them as hoplites and different from just normal units. Also, lower ranked hoplites will have this shape, like with the pikemen, but like hoplites or better, more specialized units, like top tier units, will just have the rectangle. It's an easy way to tell them apart on the battlefield. And of course the general, he always has the square general banner no matter what unit type he might be. So also I just want to show you this, that every single one of these units has the 3 spear points shooting up, which makes it hard to tell sometimes, so you just want to be careful what unit you're selecting, because you may select the wrong thing. Alright, so now I wanted to show off hoplites. Now I'm just going to quickly demonstrate that when a single hoplite unit is just normally attacking, it's not in formation, just attacking, it will, now since this unit is a very heavy spear infantry, it'll probably still win, to be honest with you, but in general, spear units that are not in formation don't do nearly as well. So I just wanted to show you what happens when they're in hoplite formation. I'm going to have my colleague here go ahead and attack with his main force here. Not all of it, mind you, but just a few of the Bloodsworn and a few of the Spear Brothers right here. And I'm going to show you what happens. And just for the sake of being somewhat realistic, I'm going to try to prevent myself from being flanked, because as I stated before, flanking for both hoplites and for pikemen is not a good deal. Now he's going to go ahead and attack, and I'm going to go ahead and form up.
Spearman at the ready. Quick march! Double time!
As you can see, these guys held very well. They didn't back up. They're barely losing units. Well, they're losing a little, but not quite a lot. And as you can see, by comparison, the Bloodsworn and the Spear Brothers that are attacking are a low threat. Although this unit, to be honest with you, is losing decisively, which is surprising, which means they must be being flanked. Oh, I see. I didn't realize this. I wasn't paying too much attention, but apparently the Bloodsworn and the Spear Brothers working together are causing this hoplite unit to actually start losing. But on general basis, they will hold against most anything. Here, I'm going to pull these guys back and make a straight line to prevent them from being flanked in any way. And I just want to show you what happens there if my colleague can pull back his forces and let these guys form, just for the sake of the tutorial.
Orders understood.
So let's just say that they're in like a line.
Hoplites ready! At the double! Double time! At the double!
Here, let's just fast forward this real quick and let them get into formation. I'm sure that our audience here doesn't want to see these guys dragging their feet. Yeah, as well as with pike phalanx, they lose acceleration and speed when they're in the hoplite wall, which basically means they're going to be pretty slow, but they're also very effective. So you sacrifice speed for strength, really. Because the positive bonuses they get are bracing, which means they hold better in the initial hit. Like with cavalry, how you saw it knocking those spearmen backward, they hold much better when they're in this hoplite wall. They also get the melee defense and shield strength bonus, which basically attributes to they take less damage from archer fire, they take less damage from like melee attack, and they hold better from the initial assault, so their formation doesn't get scattered. Alright, so let's go ahead and see the Bloodsworn hit them. We don't want to make this video too long, because that will just put a lot of pressure on my colleague here to edit, so I want to try to limit the amount of examples we do. Don't want to go overboard. Alright, so I'm going to slow this down here now. Alright, so as you can see, when those guys hit, they did not like crumble at all. They just held their ground. And spearmen are good even when they're not in formation. And I'm going to show you this because flanking is a very, very good way to get an advantage in a battle. This will just ruin them.
Ready for orders. Quick march! At the double! Hades can wait. Double time. As you command. Advance at speed. Quick march!
Now, normally, of course, these units wouldn't just sit back and watch this happen, but just for the sake of the demonstration. So, what I like to use hoplites for is that they can quite often hold the line for extended periods of time, even when they've lost as many men as they have here. They won't waver, they won't break. They're still confident even though they've lost half their force. And of course they don't like fall backward as well when they get hit by, like, say, cavalry, for instance. So now you're seeing here that when they got flanked, these Bloodsworn are dropping like flies at this point, because quite often hoplites don't kill very many units. I mean, it's just how it is. Hoplites are not very effective attacking units, but they're extremely effective on a defensive scale, which is what I use them for. I would not suggest trying to use hoplites as an offensive force, because they're most useful in hoplite formation, and when they are in hoplite formation, they're quite slow. So use them accordingly is my advice. Alright, so I've shown you spearmen, I've shown you swordsmen, what they can do. Let's go ahead and exemplify the archers before I pull back the hoplites. Let's get the prime real estate here, the units that are least damage, in order to best exemplify what's going down. This group here, number 3, is just going to be my outcast group, the banished ones, if you will. Alright, so he's going to bring forth his archers, and I'm going to put these hoplites in hoplite formation to show you how in this formation, although it's much more effective defensive formation, they're also fairly clumped together, and spearmen often do not do very well against archers, just in general, because they're very clumped together. And then I'm going to show you artillery, because artillery destroys spearmen fairly quickly, because no matter how good at bracing a spear unit is, they cannot take a rock into the chest without falling backwards. They're not a entire unit filled with people that are afraid of kryptonite, or they're not supermen. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous if they take a rock to the chest and it just bounces off of them.
I sincerely hope that harpies gnaw on your nuts.
Alright, he's going to go ahead and fire now that he is got his men in formation here. He's got some Germanic slingers. They're not great units. I tried to pick out the army to units that you would actually have near the beginning of the game, not like super good units that'll take an age to use. So like hoplites, if you're playing Macedon, you get them right off. And then
You miserable
the
lot.
same, or fairly close to the same for Germanic slingers.
I've seen graveyard whores 3 days dead, with more about them than you.
I'm just going to check the casualty rates. Like you can see, these guys are starting to drop right here. They've already gone to yellow health, dropping quite quickly. They just lost. They lose like 5 men per volley. Now that's not horrible because they're very braced. They have the extra. They have the shield strength caused by them being in formation. But if they were out of formation, they'd be dropping a lot quicker. And due to its limited mobility, these spearmen can't do a whole lot against archers, which is why you need, like, say, cavalry to back them up, or if they're being supported by spearmen, then just use archers of your own, which is why I'm actually going to exemplify here while he's firing on these guys. As I mentioned earlier, my army is not entirely spearmen. I also brought in some archers just to kind of show them off a little bit and show how they can be used along with spearmen. Even more so with pikemen, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So yeah, you can see the little health bars right here on my screen. How these guys are not doing the greatest. I mean, they're definitely very strong units, and they're surviving, and they will take many volleys before they die. It is not a unit that dies quickly, but without support, they will start dropping, and eventually they'll break. Which is not what you want if this is your defensive line, especially if they're protecting something important, like your cavalry.
Advance at speed.
So now I'm just going to... So what would happen is if, say, those spearmen right there, the Shield Brothers, were to attack this, were to try to go after the archers, they would only meet a line of spearmen, which is good because those spearmen serve a double purpose of holding the line against these Spear Brothers. So I'm just going to have my colleague here go ahead and attack the line with the Spear Brothers to show off how that works. Now it's unfortunate that their Germanic slingers are much better than my slingers, which means they're dropping my slingers quite quickly.
The men are wavering.
Pull back!
Alright.
Slingers!
Yeah, but
At the double! Fire! Loose!
generally, if you're playing like a campaign, though, the AI will not be nearly as smart. The AI in this game is quite stupid, in my opinion, so you won't hear me singing their praise. Alright, I don't want to lose all my archers in this first fray, because I also want to show you something about them with pikemen.
Quick
So I'm going
march!
to pull back the archers here. also going to go ahead and add the hoplites to the banished. And now we're going to go to the pikemen. Alright, so pikemen, I would definitely say are my favorite type of unit. In any category, archers or otherwise. I love pikemen very much. Because when they're protected from the flank, they're nearly invulnerable, especially the higher tier ones. Like, they will hold out against most anything. It's quite impressive. However, they do have some weaknesses, and I will cover that. Oh, I did want to do one thing though. I almost forgot. Alright, if I can have his archers stop firing, I want to show you one thing real quick before I pull off these hoplites. Oh, let me... Who's firing? Oh, my archers must be firing. Here, let me turn
by your command.
Fire.
For the gods of Olympus.
Alright.
At speed.
I'm not quite ready to do the pikemen first because I did want to show you what happens when you have hoplites that take artillery fire. Alright, so my colleague here, he's moving up his artillery because he really enjoys artillery. Artillery is his favorite unit type, and so he's just going to be loving the chance to blow my men away at point blank range with artillery. It's like his bread and butter right here. So we're just going to watch his artillery move up. He's got some German ballista. Not as good as Greek ballista in my opinion, but still quite effective. He's going to make it rain. Alright. I'm going to go zoom in on my units. Watch them get destroyed. Oh, here we go. Oh, you're actually cutting holes in my pikemen here, so I'm going to pull back my pikemen a little bit.
Double time. Slingers. Quick march.
You overshot and hit my pikemen. Oh yeah, so... Yeah, as you can see, they're already getting blown away.
And awaiting orders.
Oh, that was a nice hit. I'm just getting crushed. Because even though these guys are in hoplite formation, you can see a little marker right here. They are still just being decimated by the artillery. I'm not sure if you're able to hear the speaking of these guys, but I had to chuckle for a second because the general person, the leader of this unit, said, "Get down, you complete idiot," and I was laughing at that. Alright. Oh, and as you can see by that perfectly captured shot on my screen, he's actually firing fiery pots at them, which will explode on impact, as seen by that beautiful shot right there that just blew away the center of my force. As you can see, it's leaving gaping holes in the force that I'm going to try to fill up. Alright, just to make it a little bit more fun, I'm reforming them. Oh wow. I'm getting some great footage right here of the pots just sailing over these guys' heads. Oh yes. So as you can see, when he's firing these fiery pots, they're less accurate. It's the same for fire arrows. If you know how fire arrows work, that they do more damage and they have explosive capabilities, as you've seen, but they're also far less accurate than normal standard shots. So you trade accuracy for damage. Basically meaning when it does hit, it does a lot more damage, but you'll probably use a lot more ammo trying to hit it. So whether or not it's worth it is really up to the individual person. I prefer to use standard shot myself though. Alright, but I don't want to bore the audience here, so we're going to let this stop.
In service of the people.
I'm just going to throw them to the wolves, really.
Advance at speed.
Alright, so now I'm going to show off pikemen.
Pikemen.
Oh, we got it. There we go. Alright, so
Quick march. Pikes.
pikemen are not
And the
limited
double.
in how far they can spread out or if they can move by their pike phalanx. Although it slows them down, it doesn't actually immobilize them in any way. And it's not like with the hoplites how they can like just only crawl. These guys can run with pikes. It's just slightly slower. And also they're quite nearly unbreakable
Pike phalanx.
if attacked from the front. Now arrows are a weakness of
Pike phalanx.
these units, but as you can see the pikes just pop up. And yet there's also a couple seconds where they're still putting down their pikes when they deploy the formation, and when they're still putting down the pikes it leaves them vulnerable to a charge from the front that may actually get to them before their pikes go down. So you have to be careful about how fast you can deploy. Also, if they're attacked from behind, as you can see, there are no pikemen facing from behind, so you want to be very, very careful about that, whether or not if they get attacked from behind. I often make sure that, like for instance, hoplites or some type of unit are over here. That way they can't be outflanked.
Double time.
Now, like as you can see,
At speed.
you can flank or not do that, but that's just an example. Like cavalry would be very good. So, now, for the sake of the video, we're going to pretend that the AI is very stupid and that they attack directly from the front, because that's generally what you'll see the AI do. Okay.
And the double.
Alright, so we're going to see the Spear Brother unit right here. Oh, I almost forgot I left these hoplites out of the
At the
Temple of Banishment.
Spearman at the ready, commander.
Let's just get them out of the way. Alright, so let's say that the AI is very stupid and decides to bonsai charge against pikemen. I'm going to show you how effective they are. When these men hit the pikemen, like they don't go anywhere at all. They just stop. Like where the pikes begin, the units just stop. And the beauty of this is that the pikemen are able to engage without actually engaging. Like you can see where the units are held back by the pikemen. This allows pikemen to barely lose any men while still dealing massive damage to the enemies. You can see them dropping quite quickly. Whereas the pikeman unit that was engaged has lost no men at all.
Ready.
They lost not even a single man. This is only useful when they're attacked from the front. If they're not attacked from the front, well then the usefulness deteriorates quite
At
quickly.
speed.
Because pikemen are not very good when attacked from behind. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm actually going to move, while this battle is finishing off, I've got other stuff I want to show with the main force, so I'm not going to sacrifice it. But while this is finishing off, there's something else I wanted to
At
show.
speed.
I want to show what happens when a pikeman does get attacked from behind. So what I have here is a test subject. He's not going to hit that unit. I have a test subject that I moved out of the way. I'm going to put him in the pike phalanx, purposely facing away. I'm going to go ahead and even let him form up, just for the sake of the tutorial. So he's got his pike phalanx, and let's say I'm engaging somebody right here, right, here. see is not prepared all. Let me go ahead and exemplify that right here. Now these are light horsemen, so they may actually still lose, but the effect is much more devastating. Like you can already see, I've already lost a man just in the initial charge. And they're dropping quite quickly. Even though these horses are not nearly as good. The pikemen are already dropping in large numbers. Because the pikes are only useful for which is why you want to be very careful about if you get flanked. Alright, so as you can see, when they're not flanked, they're already routing these spear units with minimal to no casualties. Alright, what I also wanted to show is when my colleague here is wrapped up destroying this pikeman. Actually, pikeman is now starting to win slightly, but that's just simply because of how bad these light cavalry are. If they were any good, they would have won. Because as you can see, I've lost quite a lot from being attacked from behind against a unit that's far inferior. So even though I'm being attacked from behind, I'm still going to lose. So I'm going to have him pull out, or I'm still going to win. So I'm going to have him pull out his cavalry and save it because there's something else I want to do with it.
For the gods of Olympus!
And I'm just going to like move it over to the reject. No, it's still useful. I'm going to move it back into formation.
Quick march!
Alright, so I'm going to have him take some cavalry. You know what? I feel good, confident in my abilities, so let's just have him bring his general unit over here. He's got some noble riders, which is his general unit. And I wanted to attack with cavalry from the front and show what happens. Let's try to hit something not in combat yet. Or if you want, you can pull out your spearmen.
Sons of
A better example.
Pikemen! Form phalanx!
I'll just really quickly
Pike
reform.
infantry at your command! At speed!
Alright, and just to give my colleague here even more of an advantage, he's going to form into a wedge before attacking. Oh, but he didn't do it in time, so he's not actually formed. Oh, but as you can see, those horses actually flew when they hit the formation with like quite minimal. 2 men lost in the scene. I don't even think that was from this charge. Whereas this heavy melee cavalry is dropping like flies. It's already lost a third of its number. Because pikemen are the arch enemy of all cavalry. Cavalry do not stand a chance against pikemen when attacked from the front. Most units will fall, including other spearmen, against pikemen, unless it's against other pikemen, of course, that are better. But as a general rule, attacking from the front with attacking pikemen from the front is not a suggested strategy. Even elephants, let me tell you, elephants, I'm sure you may have used at one point. Elephants fall very quickly to pikemen because pikemen often impale the elephants in the charge. It's also the same for other special units, such as chariots. However, as with most units, artillery will blow away pikemen, because pikemen are very closely packed together.
Is dead.
And as you can see from that charge, that was a devastating charge. He lost almost his entire force in that one initial charge. And that was in the wedge formation, because the wedge formation creates a stronger initial charge, and what happened is with that, the unit was even further impaled into the spearmen.
Slingers! At speed!
Yeah, my colleague here was just commenting, I'm sorry. My colleague here was just commenting that was like bowling pins with the cavalry, how they were just being knocked over. their own momentum into the pikemen was their undoing. And the wedge formation just gives them more momentum, which means more damage. So yes, that summarizes a lot about it. Same will happen as far as archer fire goes. They're not very good. Archers are the weakness of pikemen because pikemen are not fast enough to close with archers, and pikemen are the most effective when they're immobile, like they are now, with their pikes down, because their pikes are not down when they're moving, unless they're moving slowly, which is unfortunate. But if, say, archers started firing on them, they drop very quickly. Like, as you can see, these men are just dropping like 10 at a time. So you definitely want to have archer support with your pikemen. Because as far as melee goes, they are solid. They will hold against almost anything in melee combat. But from ranged attack, they're not nearly as effective.
Our general is under attack.
The general is apparently under attack, from what I've been told. He must be taking archer fire. Yeah, he is. Yeah, but might as well finish off with my general. My general is what's known as a shield bearer. It's like a better version of the no, not pikeman. The best pikeman for Macedon is the foot companions. They are the best pikemen in the game, hands down. They were invented by Alexander the Great on a historical reference, with the very, very long pikes that you probably learned about in school or may have forgotten either way. But shield bearers are the equivalent of foot companions, only for hoplites. They are some of the best hoplites, although I would not say the best. The best hoplites belongs to Sparta with its royal hoplites. Sparta is famous for its hoplites.
Our men flee the field of battle.
If you have the DLC,
This
but
is a
luckily
shameful
for you
display.
guys, I have bought all of the DLCs so that I can do these videos with every conceivable way. My men have fled the field of battle. Oh, yes, these pikemen, having taken sustained fire, completely routed. Which shows that it doesn't take a really long time for pikemen to rout enemy and fire.
General!
Alright, so yeah, that about summarizes it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something from my videos. And I hope you're at least a little bit entertained by them, because no one likes someone that's boring. So, quick summary, we got the throw spears covered, and their abilities, or lack thereof. We got hoplites, which is the bread and butter of most spear-based armies, and then we got pikemen, which are specialists, spearmen.
Our men flee the field of battle.
Thank you guys for watching.
This is a
has been
shameful
Alex from
display.
Potato Squared, and please like, favorite, subscribe if you enjoy it. I mean, anything to help us out would be very much appreciated. Give us some encouragement to keep doing these. We're going to have a survey up to see what could be improved, because we're also doing this for reasons outside of just entertainment. And so if you guys would be really kind, anyone that sees this, and would like to answer surveys saying how the narrative that I've been doing, the content, as well as the technical aspects have been, please feel free to fill out that survey, because it'll help us a lot, give us some results to work on, make our videos better for the future. This has been our first video, and I think it's gone haphazardly. It's going to need some improvement. But as far as first videos go, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope that we can make it much better with your help.
This is a shameful display.
Thank you for watching, and have a good day.